We are working through exercise 6i, and in this video we will be answering question 1a, which says using the method of horizontal and vertical translations, sketch the graph of each of the following. And for a, we've been given y equals x plus 2 to the power of 4 minus 1. The first thing that we're going to realize is that because it is in this form, we can immediately identify what the turning point is going to be. My turning point for this is going to be -2, -1. So remember, you're taking this value right here and making sure you change the sign, but you don't have to change the sign for this one. It's just what it is. After we find what the turning point is going to be, the next thing that we're going to do is find what the X-Intercept is going to be. To find the X-Intercept, we're going to let y equal 0. So let's do that now. We're going to get 0, let's try that again. We're going to get 0 is equal to x plus 2 to the power of 4 minus 1. We're then going to plus 1 to both sides. Doing that, we're going to be left with 1 is equal to x plus 2 to the power of 4. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to root to the power of 4, a quartic root, if you will, to both sides. Having done that, what's going to happen here is that I'm just going to be left with x plus 2 on this side. And on this side, I'm going to be left with plus or minus 1. It's important to note that when we root by a number that is even, we're always going to get plus or minus. So because 4 is even, we're going to get plus or minus 1. Let's now continue. The next thing we're going to do is minus 2 from both sides. Now, we're going to get plus or minus 1 minus 2 is equal to x. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to get two x values. I'm going to get x is equal to positive 1 minus 2, which is just going to be negative 1. And then I'm going to get x is equal to negative 1 minus 2, which is going to be negative 3. So I have two x values. Okay, let's now continue. Actually, before we continue, let's mark that on our little graph here. So we're going to get negative 1, which will be here, and we'll get negative 3, which is going to be here. And we know we have a turning point of -2, -1, and that makes sense because it's going to be halfway between them. So -2 is going to be here, and let's call this -1. This is not to scale. Okay, let us now find, let me change the color up. Let's now find our Y-intercept. To find our Y-intercept, our Y-int, we are going to let x equal 0 and then solve. So we're going to get y is equal to 0 plus 2 to the power of 4 minus 1, which is going to be y is equal to, this is just going to be 2 to the power of 4, which is 16 minus 1. So our Y-intercept is going to be 15. So let's come over here and mark that as 15. Now, when we draw this, it's just going to look very similar to a quadratic. So let us now sketch this. Ready? All right, let's see if we can make this look good. It's always easier to sketch first and put your points in later. So in other words, cheat. And I'm going to cheat now because I don't think I'm ever going to be able to get this right. All right, let us... Actually, you know what I could have done? I could have just moved this. I could have just gone, this is going to be here. This is going to be, wait for it. This is going to be here. This is going to be here. Now it's important that if this was a test, you have to make sure that you're not only just writing 15 here, but you write it as coordinates. So this is going to be 0, 15. This isn't just going to be -3. You're going to make sure you write it as -3, 0, and this is -1, 0 as well. That is important, something that people often forget. Always make sure that you're writing down your coordinates as such. Now I'm just trying to fix this up to make sure it is pretty. I'll get rid of that. Let's move this a bit more to the side just so people can clearly see it's 3, 0. Let's move this over here. And then I think it's a good idea to write down what our turning point is as well. -2, -1. Okay, hopefully that is clear and everyone understands what I did there. I will see you in the next video.